All right, hello, Sooner Nation. It is finally here. It is game week. We have, for the rest of till January, stuff to talk about now. The dog days are over. No more
Yes,
talking
you don't have to
Yankees
hear
and
us talk
Braves
about
baseball
softball anymore
or
or,
stories
the
of our
Thunder
lives.
or stories. But here's the deal, guys. We still reserve the right to go there if we need to. But we are excited to get back to our game week, to get to our game week format. And, again, we're going to try to kind of follow we're doing a pod today, middle of the week, or Wednesday night right now, maybe Thursday by the time you hear this. But that being said, after the game, I am going to go to the game on Saturday. So maybe Sunday, probably before we get a reaction pod, unless there's something just catastrophic happen, then I may have to do the driving back home angry pod with Jeremy. But again, we're glad it's here and it's game week.
Yeah, we'll have to change it from to explicit content if we do have to be by Illinois State. So I'm not prepared for that. So hopefully, because everything that I've been dreaming about will just go be done one game. So hopefully that's not the case. But they did release the depth chart, and I always love the depth chart because people lose their crap. Wouldn't it be a fun deal to go back and look at all the depth charts that started since like 2020 and look at like who actually played in those games? I mean, Jaden Ott, people think I kicked him off the team. So
yeah, I mean, a couple things. One, and we'll get to the OU depth chart in a second, but did you see the depth chart of the week? Michigan plays New Mexico, and Michigan just did not release a depth chart, which fine, don't blame them. So
do
New
you
Mexico
have to release one?
Apparently, like in a non-conference deal, you don't have to.
Oh, okay.
And New Mexico released a depth chart, and their depth chart, all their offensive players were Tom Hanks characters from movies. All their defensive players were Tom Cruise characters from movies, and their special teams was Leonardo DiCaprio. And the biggest miss that they had, I mean, obviously they had Forrest Gump at tailback, but the fact that they had Jimmy Dugan, buried at tight end instead of quarterback just seemed like a miss. To me.
That seems more of a starting tight end for us.
yes, exactly. But again, that was the real winner of the depth chart. And I actually just right before this pod, I took some time and listened to BV's press conference, or not really press conference, his coach's show that he does with Plank. Now it's Plank and Teddy. And BV could give absolutely two craps about that depth chart. I mean, he chuckled and he's like, "Oh, did we release one? Did one of those come out?" I mean, guys, don't bed wet on this, okay? And we all saw the tweet. It was shared in our friend group that DeMarco Murray wouldn't start DeMarco Murray at running back. That's funny, and we do have concerns there. But let's see actual gameplay before we worry about depth charts.
Oh, we haven't even put the elephant in the room. Jaren Kanak. God, what do I keep calling Kanak? Kanak, Jaren Kanak. I'm just before the next pod. I'll just practice.
Burger's dad. That's all we need to refer to him as. Okay, his wiener dog is the real star, and I mean,
that's our friend Darren thinks that OU season's over because he's starting. So he was just like, just shows you what a classless football. What was it? A pitiful room with a pitiful coach. I'm just like, God dang, we haven't even played a game yet. Yeah. And I'm telling you, we tell a lot of stories about Darren. He will be on this pod.
And I mean, here's the deal. Jerry and I dislike Joe John's job performance just as much as the next guy. But let's see, okay? BV actually told a pretty funny story on him, talking about first time he played as a true freshman was they were playing Nebraska, and the starter gets kicked out for targeting, and Jaren has to go in the game, and he gets 9 tackles and a half. Okay, the guy's a freak athlete, and you know what helps in football? Freak athletes. Good athletes make good football players. I know that's late breaking news. Feel free to aggregate that off of the Centercast, but I am not, once again, and we'll see. We haven't seen any games, but everything that the Washington State tape shows us, the Washington State stats tell us is tight end is not all that important of a position in this offense. And everything I've heard from Arbuckle is like, we're going to put the best players on the field and try to put the ball in our playmakers' hands as often as we possibly can. That's why I know some people are upset. The same people that are upset that Ott was third on the depth chart are also upset that him and Satanga were back as returners too. Oh, why are we putting our best players? Because you want your best players to touch the football. Okay.
Hey, do we remember who was returning kicks last 2 years? I mean, that guy named Billy Bowman did a lot of it.
Pretty important player. Okay. Antonio Perkins, pretty important player. Okay. Mm-hmm. We want to put people back there who can make plays. We need plays made. We need big things. And that's the big thing I'm looking for. And, to go back, not to put the cart in front of the horse here, this is supposed to be a depth chart conversation. Happy to see that Fasusi got the or, thought that was important. Lots and lots of ors out there, thought that was interesting that both tackles, I mean, everything was an or on the offensive line except Wee-Woo, right? If I remember correctly, I think, Ozida and EPL were ors at left guard, Fasusi and Sexton at left tackle, Simmons and Howland at right. I think it was even a three-way or. I think Jake Taylor was an or on that one too. We're going to see a lot of different people on the offensive line. Once again, that's the thing I'm most interested to see. Listening to state radio, listening to Gabe and Teddy, Gabe kind of let it slip that he thinks some people aren't going to play on the offensive line this weekend. And he prefaced that of, oh, crap, I said it. Oh, I don't know anything. I haven't talked to anybody. Yeah, you have. Gabe. Yeah, you have. It's fine. But let's just get through everything clean and get ready for Michigan.
Hey, can I quietly say if Ott doesn't touch the ball and they sit him out this game, am I going to be like, am I going to freak out? No, I'm not. Is everybody on Twitter going to freak out? Absolutely. We can win 150-0. If Jaden Ott doesn't play, that will be the only thing that anybody talks about. So they shouldn't be playing him. If he is banged up, why would you play him in this game if you've got some capable running backs?
And I mean, we want those reps. I mean, like that's what we want, guys. And I mean, there has to be. Guess what? Running back's position, you take a lot of physical beating at, okay? Mm-hmm. It takes a toll. And the fact that Blaylock and Barnes took all of those reps, this is some reward for that. And if people have a problem with that, yeah, you got a problem with how BB's running things. I've got a problem with how BB's running things too. The fact that we went 6 and 7. But if this is something that we think can motivate and to be better, let's see what happens. Okay.
I'm also too going to be upset if John Mateer is in there late in the third quarter. So
right. I mean, if he's having to be in there, then I'm going to be frustrated. Yeah, my goal is I'm going to the game Saturday because the temperatures are going to be nice. I would like to watch Mateer hang half 100, really by the second quarter, but hang half 100 by halftime. I'd like to watch Hawk play about 2 possessions and then get my butt on I-40 and start heading home. That's what I would like to do.
Yeah.
But we don't know that's what's going to happen. I want to see everything healthy and all those sorts of things. But, anything else that stands out to you depth chart wise, Jeremy? You want to talk defensively? I think once again, if I've got this pulled up here, of the 11 spots on defense, we've got oars on all of them except R. Mason Thomas and Gentry Williams. Okay. So,
hey, I like seeing that Gentry Williams spot. That is very refreshing. But one thing that I will point out that I've seen in the depth chart that is something that Venables, if you want to say what has Venables done for us, what he has done for us is built a stacked defensive line. Him, Todd Bates, Miguel Chavis, that is the deepest line that I think I've seen since maybe the Tommy Harris days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is a deep line. When you have Marvin Jones right now at the other end spot, how much have you heard people talk about Marvin Jones?
And Marvin's a former 5-star. guys,
I know.
who's been at major programs. Okay,
Mhm.
this isn't some bust who has matriculated down. Marvin Jones is a guy that was very coveted in the portal. We got him, and like Jeremy's saying here, lots and lots of depth. We want to see that depth. I want to see Kendall Daniels. I've talked about this before, but got to see him up close. We played Beggs multiple. We played Beggs in football in the quarterfinals one year, and we played Beggs in the regional final in basketball either that same year or the year after, and got to see a lot of Kendall Daniels, and just what a special athlete he was in person, and really excited to see that. Really excited to see lots of things. But most excited to get through this game healthy, most excited to see some continuity come. And obviously, why of the 80-something thousand people are going to be there, most of us, if you were going to say, well, we want to see John Mateer, right?
No, yeah.
I mean,
And
this is it.
I try to steer away from like, I think we know what we got with him. It's like with Jackson, we had the Arizona bowl game. And you really want to look, let's go back further and look at, remember when he played against BYU and they brought him in and people were like, he's rusty, but man, he's got some potential. He played like crap. Can we honestly say he played like
made
crap?
one throw, Jeremy, one.
Yeah.
No, we needed that one throw to win.
But that's what I'm saying is like Mateer,
I mean,
you see how many bad things have you heard about John Mateer?
Well, it's just like this, okay? And
Except
Jeremy
for
and I have
Venmo.
and Jeremy and I have been playing this game for a long time. We were always excited to see the next big thing. If you want to go all the way back to when Jeremy and I were in school, seeing Brett Rawls or Rhett Bomar, and those things didn't work out. But the first time you saw Bradford spin it, you knew. Yeah. Okay. The first time that we saw Baker, here it's like, yeah, this cat, he can go. Because there were people like
that spring game.
People were like, why? I mean, that's great. He's here. We just saw Trevor Knight really play well in that Sugar Bowl. And
hey, didn't Baker come into that? Didn't he play the spring game that he had to sit out and absolutely torched our defense? And people are like, can we get a waiver on that guy? Or what's
the first time you see those things, and this makes Jeremy and I sound like a couple of weirdos, but it's just it's just a different feeling when you see those guys, and you just know, you can see the ball come out. And this is a name that most people don't want to hear, but the first time you saw Caleb, you saw it was different. Okay. Yeah. It was different. And that's what we all want to see with Mateer. And we've seen it a little bit in the spring game. We've seen it, with some tape against Washington State, but we want to see it in Crimson and Cream. And
don't you think it's refreshing? Yeah. And don't you think it's refreshing too? Arbuckle raves almost just as much about Hawkins.
Oh, I'm super excited to see the growth and like how great it is for him, to get the growth behind a John Mateer that he's going to get. And so just super excited about that.
I feel like last year was a waste year for him, and that sucks.
It was
for that kid.
But it was also some trial by fire too.
It was. They got him some. I mean, dude had to go into Auburn and win, which is not an easy place to win. And also, too, I look at it this way: God forbid anything happens to John Mateer. That would be catastrophic. I'm not saying that I want it to happen, but after listening to some of the, like, not only Arbuckle, but some of these other people talk about Hawkins, it's like he has adapted to this. He wouldn't have stayed at OU if he didn't believe in the system that he's playing in. So I think that's something we got to understand with Michael Hawkins. He wants to be here because this system fits his game. So if something does happen to Mateer, I don't think we need to worry as much as we did last year, where it's just he kind of got thrown into the wolves.
No, I agree. I mean, he's a year older, a year wiser. We've got a really good offensive coordinator. We've got a true quarterbacks coach. We've got all those things that just set up so much better for that system. Just to me, looking at other things on the depth chart, maybe something I didn't talk about. Probably, Jeremy, we should talk a little bit about, I think probably the other I'll be wailing and gnashing of teeth. But some people are upset. We've all talked really good things about Elijah Thomas and the fact that he was third on the depth chart. I think once again, I wouldn't read too much into that. I would read much more into who gets snaps and how many snaps they get this week than really who is where on the depth chart. But I think Elijah Thomas is going to get reps. I think Jermichael Carter is going to get reps. I think Zion Kearney is going to get reps. I think all those young guys are going to get reps. And once again, I hope Burks is healthy, but I don't need to see a lot of Deion Burks on Saturday. I want to see him out there. I'd like to throw like one long, help him get 1,000 yards this season, maybe get 70, 80 yards and get him the crap out of there.
Well, I mean, just like Spears Jennings or in the second.
Yeah, with Boganowski, which is, that's good.
But I feel like they did that because they're just like, they know who the opponent is, right? Like,
yes,
people are treating this like it's the Michigan game. Look at our depth chart, the Michigan game compared to this one. That's all I'm going to say. You know what? We're all learning. Even the coaches and us, we're all learning. So,
okay. Well, speaking of our opponent, let's kind of talk a little bit about the Illinois State Redbirds. They were 10-4 last season. They are number 6 preseason in the FCS. Their head coach, Brock Spake, has been there 17 years, 111-74. Before that, he was 12 seasons as the DC at Purdue. And of those, this was kind of the heyday of Purdue when he was there. He was at Purdue for 12 seasons. They went to 11 bowl games. So this is a respected guy. Listening to BV talk, they had multiple preseason All-Americans, that sort of thing. They made it to the second round of the FCS playoffs last year. They did go play Iowa to start the last year. They're 6-38 all time against FBS opponents, but 3 of those wins have came since 2012. They beat Eastern Michigan in 2016, Northwestern in 2016, and Colorado State in 2018. I've got a few more Redbird tidbits, but I don't want to monopolize all the conversation here, Jeremy. Any Redbird thoughts?
I'm like, please do. I have not dug into this as much as you have. Yeah. Sorry, my Illinois State knowledge is not as good as I thought it was going to be. No, I'll be honest with you. I have not. I got on TikTok, made a TikTok about us beating Illinois State and how I would act just to get a rise out of people. And it got exactly what I thought it would. But I'm just like, I haven't looked that much into it. But I'd say my motto this year is I will celebrate every win like it is a national championship this year. After the year
Choose joy, Jeremy. Choose joy.
After the year we had last year, if I can make it through that year, I mean, like we've talked for how long have we talked in this podcast? Like we're trying not to get too excited, but you know what? Like I'm really trying not to, but there's just too many positives right now going forward. So as long as our wide receiver room don't get freaking like they did last year, So
a little more Redbird knowledge for anyone who is here. Like, you know what? I really hope Goss has done his research on the Redbirds. Well, today's your lucky day. Okay.
And also too, he has got his Phil Steele magazine back.
I do,
as you can tell.
Yes. So, thank you, Phil. Thank you, the World Wide Web. But there are 6
Thank
Redbirds.
You, Reed.
yeah. Reed offered I offered Reed his Athlon back. He was like, just keep it. Use this toilet paper. It's fine.
I'll give you this Phil Steele and Athlon for a player to be named at a later date.
Yeah, exactly. Don't think there's going to be a big lot of offers on the old Athlon. Put that on Facebook Marketplace. It's probably not going very fast. It's kind of like used diapers or something. Some more interesting tidbits on Illinois State. Illinois State, like I said, 6 people on the FCS All-Americans. Their linebacker, Ty Nykamp. Once again, it's a long snapper off. We had a long snapper make the preseason All-SEC team. Their long snapper was first team All-FCS. So, if maybe in some sort of triple, quadruple overtime, maybe there's a snap off to see which team wins. Their quarterback was a third team All-FCS, Tommy Rittenhouse. He's 5'11". So not a real big guy. The coach, when he was on the interview with Gabe and Teddy, and the coach kind of compared him to Doug Flutie, which kind of tells you the coach is an older guy. So the fact that he wanted to throw out a Flutie reference, so that would go over most of most people now. But
that's when you know you've coached at a school for a while.
Yeah, for a long time when you're making Doug Flutie.
Also, too, not to make fun of a guy, but wasn't his face like this?
Yes.
When he was just like he was like talking to my mom on FaceTime. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the angles were not kind. It was a lot of closeness and a lot of like.
He's like, "What are you doing here?"
And,
oh yeah, he's like trying to look. It's almost like he was looking down their shirt, but
I thought that was pretty interesting. So I know everyone really likes when I kind of go off the rails here and make Jeremy answer a question that he probably that he probably does not know. Okay, Jeremy, do you know any famous Redbird alums?
No, I don't.
Okay, let's go this. Who was Michael Jordan's head coach for the Washington Wizards and was his head coach for the Bulls before Phil Jackson?
Doug Collins.
Doug Collins.
The great Doug Collins.
Graduated from Illinois State. So, okay, Jeremy, again, you might not know his name, but have you ever seen the movie Office Space? Pretty sure I know the answer to that.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Does Lundberg mean anything to you? Gary Cole from Office Space. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. John Malkovich, also Redbird.
John Malkovich. I think I did know that one. Yes.
Yeah. John Malkovich did not graduate, but he was awarded an honorary degree in 2005.
What a worthless piece of crap. Didn't graduate. Okay.
Cool. we talked about Forrest Gump earlier. Okay. Lieutenant Dan, Redbird. Gary Sinise.
Now that one I did know. Yes, I remember somebody putting it on Twitter.
So
you will always be Lieutenant Dan.
There we go. That's something. So
and so if you get that in Jeopardy, you will know
if you get that, you have got that.
They're asking Illinois State knowledge.
They're Illinois State alumni. If that's the, I don't know which one of those would be like the $2,000 question, but those are all probably going to be pretty high. Yeah. Just so everyone does know, this game is an ESPN Plus or SEC Plus matchup. So if you are not going, I think your options are I'm an ESPN Plus subscriber, but I do need to check my credit card statement to make sure I'm not paying for this extra $29.99 a month thing where you don't have don't have to have cable or anything else. So if anyone, wants my password or something, it's going to take more than a like and a follow. So, no,
it's going to take you're going to need to sponsor this podcast.
Yes. Yeah. Sponsorships are available once again. But as we kind of wind down on the Redbirds, and if you do want more detail, I know Gabe and Teddy are doing like an in the weeds kind of thing where they're going to talk more of the scheme and that sort of thing. They do run a 3-4. Their quarterback's going to scramble, that sort of thing. So it will be interesting to see if, as fresh and as good as I think our defensive line is, those guys can stay in contain, make good decisions, that sort of thing. But all that being said, Jeremy, do you have a final score prediction? Anything else you want to add about this weekend's game?
I would say let's just go 63 to no, I don't want to say 63 because that means we just scored touchdowns. Let's just say 69 to 13.
Okay. Jeremy,
I think he'll get 69. Yeah, I know. Now explicit content on this one.
Speaking of explicit content, but I certainly think we're gonna run it up's the wrong thing, but I think Nagy, Venables, Arbuckle, all those guys get it. Mateer gets it. We need the stats from this game. We need to do those things. We would like to see Mateer in a Heisman deal. The whole point of this start of our season, we got to get to this Texas game 5-0. Or I've said it here before, we got to leave the Texas game 5-1. If we do stub our toe, whatever, but we got to leave that Texas game 5-1. And Operation Hype Train continues here. I do agree with Jeremy that we're going to try to put some points on the board. I'm going to go 54-10 is what I'm going to go for the final. That being said, I could definitely see us getting to 60 because I do think Hawk, when he gets in there, if they let him run, literally, I think he can run and get some good things there. Same thing with some of our second and third string receivers. I'd like to see Elijah Thomas maybe take one to the house. I think that they'd love to get Kanak, however we want to say it, to the end zone. I think they'd like to do some things there. So either way, I think Jeremy and I think that covers on both sides. Jeremy and I both have OU covering. Don't take advice from us. Okay. Don't go to gamble on us
or Venmo.
Yeah, don't. You can always Venmo us. We'll take it. But
taking sponsorships if you want to go to our Venmo.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe next week we'll put a little sign of our Venmo on there.
Also, too, we were talking about ESPN Plus. Did YouTube TV and Fox work out their deal?
I don't know. I really don't know.
That is I'm a YouTube TV guy, and that is
you better get that figured out, man.
Because not like Ohio State and Texas is playing at 11 a.m. So it's not that big of a deal.
Okay, update 5 hours ago, YouTube TV. We have reached a short-term extension with Fox to prevent disruption to our subscribers. So you can watch the Texas-Ohio State game. I think that's something we should talk just a little bit about too. Before we close up here, let's talk about just two other games. Let's get a score prediction on Ohio State, Texas, and let's get a Clemson LSU. What do you got?
It pains me to say this, but I think Texas is going to find a way to win this game. I don't know why. I just feel like Ohio State, new quarterback. Yes, I know Texas has Arch Manning. He really has this is first time, but I just feel like the football gods have not been a fan of us here lately. I think that's kind of just our last little kind of punch in the gut to us to be like, okay, we're going to make it. But is it that bad of a deal if Texas beats Ohio State? Let them be number one when we beat them. That's what I'm thinking.
I know that I should want Texas to win. I should, but I can't. I want Ohio State to win. So does Jeremy. But if it does happen, we can put the spin on it that, that's what was good. It'll make the OU Texas game bigger. It's good for the SEC, good for the brand, all that stuff. Who gives a crap? I'm still picking Ohio State in the shoe. Screw you, UT.
I thought you were going to say screw you, Downing. I'm like, are you serious? Okay, cool, dude.
But anyway, all kidding aside, I kind of see that as a little more of a defensive struggle than probably most people. I don't think it's going to be a beautiful game. I think it's going to be a little bit like the game we saw across the pond last week. It's going to have some sloppiness and that sort of thing. So I've got Ohio State that game 24-17, something like that. I think
I would be shocked if that game got in the 30s.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, I will go ahead and pick the home team again. I'll take Clemson over LSU, even though I think LSU will probably be better by the end. Brian Kelly just finds ways to lose season openers. There's always just weird things coming out with them and that sort of thing. So I'll go ahead and pick Clemson there, but I wouldn't be shocked for LSU to also win that by 2 touchdowns. We just really don't know.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Clemson's kind of a dark horse for me for winning the national championship. I've said it before. I think
they get through this, they may not lose again.
I think Dabo made a deal with the devil. I've said
their next tough game could be South Carolina, and that's at the end of the year. So.
Yeah, and we're not really sure how good South Carolina is going to be. So
we know my thoughts.
Yeah, but also too, that could be a curse for Clemson. When you look at why in all those years SEC win national championships, because the gauntlet of making it through the SEC, by the time you make the playoffs, it's almost like you're like, oh, thank God I get a break.
We get to play somebody easy. We get to play like an OU team coached by Lincoln Riley.
Yeah. Okay, before we get off here, can I touch on the Lincoln Riley deal? Because
Proceed.
Colin Cowherd put something on Twitter today that said, we're all talking about the 2.2 GPA and kids not going to class. Do you guys realize he averaged 11 wins a season at OU? Let me just tell you by what Brent's saying, he is not running down like kids about, yes, football and college is still academics. What he's trying to say, when you have kids not going to school, when you have kids failing drug tests, that shows basically what kind of attitude you had in your program. That is what he's saying. He's not saying anything like had a bunch of stupid football players and we need better academics. No, what he's saying is get your butt to class and don't take drugs.
Yeah.
That's basically just Colin Cowherd took it as, well, they still won games. Dumbass, he wasn't saying that. What he's telling you is like he's showing you he's trying to grow these kids into men. And you say what you want about Brent Venables all you want, but in the end, the guy is trying to turn his program not only into a winner, but also to the right way. So,
I mean, what Brent's trying to do, and this pub is almost founded on this principle, is Brent is up there trying to win a national championship. He's not trying to just win X number of football games. And Lincoln can take you so high. Okay. Yeah. It's like eating a candy bar. Okay. It tastes good while you're doing it. You're going to pay for it a little bit later. And with what we're doing with Brent is this juice cleanse that we've been on with Brent has been painful. And we're hoping
we're a diabetic that's trying to get used to a zero.
At the try, at that point. So again, yeah, I mean, here's the deal. Brent goes out of his way to not take shots at people, guys. He's never blamed. He's never publicly went and blamed Seth. He's never publicly went and blamed Jackson Arnold. He was just stating some facts. This is a guy fighting for his job. Do I feel sorry for Brent Venables because he's a millionaire football coach? No, I don't. But Brent Venables is a good human being who's been through some rough times with his wife and all those different things and all that going on too. And we all want it to be successful. But this is also the point at which I'll say as we get close to signing off, if we struggle and stink against Illinois State, I'm going to be ticked off the next time you see me. And we want it to do well. But BV, this is our last free one. After this, I'm going to go by what my eyes tell me. And hopefully our eyes tell us positive things on Saturday night.
Yeah, hopefully my hat's not like this, like a Major League 2 where
yeah, exactly. So hopefully we do so well that there's even some positive energy from our friend group going into the Michigan game. But
no, there will not. But
again, still, thanks for listening, guys. We're glad you've stuck with us.
Yes.
Those of you who stuck through all over the hour of last week's SEC preview, you're the real MVP. We're proud of you. And we'll see you again. Hey,
buddy, before we get off, remember, guys, probably Sunday when we'll do our post-game stuff, but subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Apple and Spotify. We appreciate, we're almost to 110 on YouTube. So, I mean, get our credentials when we go to Media Day next year. Really,
yeah, we're not paying $600 to get down there, guys. Like I saw a deal where you could pay $600 to go ask questions. We're not doing that unless someone wants to sponsor us to do that. Then we'll gladly do that, and we'll ask whatever you want us to ask. But
but thanks, guys, for listening, and until next time, Boomer Sooner.
Boomer.